Would it make you the jerk for not wanting to pay your friend $2,000 for having watched your cat? We'll get into that in a bit, but first, am I the jerk for not letting a kid eat my food? The other day, I was at the mall with my boyfriend and our 2 kids, female 5 and male 6. We were sitting eating a bag of roasted chestnuts when this kid, around 10 years old, starts hovering around us. Now, I admit, I'm not the biggest fan of any kid that doesn't belong to me, so this alone was already annoying me slightly, but I still smiled to him. Then he calls my son over and whispers in his ear, and I knew it was about the chestnuts. My son nods yes, and the boy comes up to me and reaches for a chestnut. I moved the bag and said, "No, you have to go ask your parents." My boyfriend got upset, called me rude, and handed a chestnut to the boy. The boy leaves, and I tell my boyfriend he shouldn't have done that you don't just give food to a strange kid. The boy then hovers back around us and, without a word, snatches 2 chestnuts from the bag that my boyfriend was now holding. I stand up and said very firmly, "Sorry, but you can't take our stuff like that. Go to your parents." He put them back and ran off. I think the kid had no education manners, and I wasn't going to let my kids think it's okay to accept anything from strangers, or that it's okay to be pressured into sharing. My boyfriend doesn't agree and thinks the kid trusted us because we had kids ourselves. He thinks I was just selfish. So, am I the jerk? Maybe you could argue that OP was a little standoffish to a kid that they didn't know, but it's not like OP has to coddle this kid, and I think it's actually a very sound logic to not be in the business of giving random kids food that you have no idea they can even tolerate. I know chestnuts aren't like technically peanuts per se, but I wouldn't want to gamble on the handoff to a random kid and put that liability in my hands. You know I'm right 25 commented, "Not the jerk." Your boyfriend could have ended the kid. How does your boyfriend know the kid's not allergic to nuts? Absolutely never give food to kids without talking to the parents first. Also, hi, I'm Steven, and if you guys enjoy getting to decide whether or not all of these people are jerks, why not hit those like and subscribe buttons down below? That said, our next story is, am I the jerk for trying to set a boundary with my little sister after she opened my birthday present? 23-year-old female, little sister is 13-year-old female. I live back and forth between my mom's and my dad's house. All of my siblings are half-siblings on my dad's side. I love my little sister, but lately I've been getting annoyed about certain boundaries she crosses. She's obsessed with face cream, hand cream, body spray, perfume, any hair products that smell good, lip gloss, balm. She has a very big collection of all these things. I once sat and counted how many lip stuff she's accumulated over the years, and I counted 37. Despite having tons of her own, she always asks to borrow mine, and often ends up using the entire thing. One of my perfumes was almost completely used up because she would spray it at least 20 times every time she used it. She gets upset if I don't share my stuff with her. For example, I got a body mist from Bath & Body Works recently because I love the smell. I decided to leave it at my mom's house. My sister saw it in the background during a FaceTime and said, "Oh, that looks like it smells good. Can you bring it the next time you come here?" And I jokingly said something along the lines of, "I think we've got more than enough perfumes at Dad's," and she was visibly upset. I'm quite a patient person, so I brush all of this off because she's my little sister and that's just what siblings do, right? But this recent situation has really upset me, and I don't know if I'm overreacting or not. So, it was my birthday on Tuesday. I went to my dad's to celebrate after work. When I sat down to open presents, I noticed that all of them were intact except one, of which the packaging had been ripped open and the contents removed. Weird. So I asked my little sister what happened, and she told me that it was one of my brother's gifts to me. A set that included hand cream, a nail file, a nail and cuticle oil, and a little nail clipper, and she really wanted to try it and couldn't wait for me to open it, so she decided to go ahead and open it herself and try everything out. Half the hand cream had been squeezed out of the tube, the nail file was used because it had those telltale scratches on it, and the small nail and cuticle oil bottle wasn't closed properly, so it was also opened. I understand that in the grand scheme of things, this isn't a big deal, but it made me sad that she just had gone and opened my gift like that without even thinking to consult me first. I said to her verbatim, "You need to stop thinking all of my things are automatically yours too." Her mom taught her that everything that belongs to your siblings also belongs to you. Her philosophy, siblings share everything. So setting a boundary is very difficult. My sister got mad because I never share my things with her anymore and am purposely leaving some of my stuff at my mom's place to avoid her using them. Her mom called me quite selfish for belittling my own sister for wanting to be closer to me by borrowing my things. Am I the jerk? Would I be the jerk if I continue to be harsh about these boundaries? I kind of feel like this is one of those participation award trophy kind of mentalities gone way too wrong. It's one thing to want to make every kid feel included in something, it's another to pamper your kids so hard that they begin to have this mindset that your birthday presents are also theirs to crack open and take a look at. Anybody else ever see that video of that kid that's absolutely outraged and screaming over the fact that they couldn't blow out somebody else's birthday candles? The parent had to hold a plate in front of their face so they couldn't do so? I feel like that's the kind of behavior this mom is encouraging with their younger kid. OK Expression 7723 commented, "Where is your dad in all of this? Why isn't he parenting her? Get a lock for your door. She has lost all privileges in your room, lost access to any of your stuff, and she should be grounded. Her allowance should be going to you until she's paid for the birthday present she stole and ruined." This behavior is completely unacceptable. Your dad and his wife are doing her a massive disservice by not setting clear and enforced rules of behavior. They're also treating you horribly. This was your present, not hers. She stole it. None of her behavior is okay. Our next story is, am I the jerk for taking my niece on vacation after her parents planned one without her? My niece, 11, is the youngest child with 4 older brothers. She's also the youngest cousin and grandchild and the only girl. Between that and the fact that she was very sick when she was little, she's a little spoiled by everyone except her parents. When she turned 11, she told her mom she wanted to go on a weekend trip with just her and her mom. Her mom made a big deal about her wanting to exclude her dad and brothers. They refused to do the trip and also didn't plan anything for her birthday, so I took her on her trip myself. Last month was one of her brother's birthdays. He decided that for his birthday, he wanted everyone to go to Mexico except for my niece. Her parents agreed that it was fair because if she wanted a trip without them, they can get one without her. They asked me if I could watch her for 10 days. My niece was so upset, so I decided to plan a surprise trip for her. I have some clients in Miami, so I arranged for us to go there for 5 days, drive up to Orlando for 3 days, and then fly out to New York for 2 days, where I also had to get some work done. It technically was a work trip, but I was able to plan a lot of fun outings for my niece. Just before their trip to Mexico, I told my niece's parents that I had to be in Florida and New York for work during their trip, but I could take her with me. Since it was so last minute, they had to agree as they didn't have any other childcare and couldn't miss the trip. She had a blast. We spent a day in Disney World, went to 2 Broadway shows, spent most of our time in Florida on the beach, did a lot of shopping, got room service for the first time, and our tickets were upgraded so we flew first class on our way home. Her parents are mad that I spoiled her and undermined them, so I don't get to see her as much as I used to. I'm still their after-school childcare, so I see her a few days a week, and they're going around telling extended family that I took their kid across the country without permission because I was upset about her being punished for being rude. I mean, in my opinion, OP is the saint. Far from being a jerk in my eyes, how do you, as a parent, treat your kids so poorly that you punish them by excluding them from a family vacation? Short of something absolutely vile and horrendous, can you come up with a more effective way as a parent to say to your kid, we do not care about you? That you are the lowest on our favorite child rankings leaderboard? I mean, the parents themselves are the ones acting like kids, stomping their feet, being all upset because, oh my gosh, OP treated their niece to a great time while they watched them for 10 days. Weeder Wabbit commented, so she asked for a trip with mom alone. They said no, it's mean to brothers. But when brother wants a trip without her, it's fine because she had dared to ask for a trip without siblings? What sort of mind-bending parents does this poor girl have? Not the jerk. You are a wonderful person to look out for her. Our next story is, am I the jerk for not wanting to quit my work position for my husband? I, 27-year-old female, have been married for 7 years to my 29-year-old male husband. We have a 6-year-old child together, and we have a good marriage. I'm a petroleum service technician, meaning I work Monday to Friday and sometimes late nights or on calls on technical problems. Most days and weekends, I'm home before 5 and on call is not often. I'm very good at what I do and make really good money doing it. My husband wants me to quit and work part-time or less hours, and his reasoning is because he feels my skills are needed more at home than in the field. He believes women should not work at all and they belong at home. He also makes the same amount of money as me, and he only works Monday to Friday. Our daughter understands when I have to leave. I help make the world go around, and she doesn't seem to have a problem when I have to go or when I work late. I really love my career and I'm not interested in quitting, but I don't want to choose my work over my family. I feel most respected by my boss and coworkers, and my boss and coworkers encourage me to keep getting better and keep doing what I'm doing now. Am I the jerk for not wanting to quit my job for my husband? Maybe this will vary wildly depending on your own personal beliefs, but in my opinion, if it's not hampering your family, which realistically I don't think it sounds like it's doing here in the case of OP's family, then it's just not fair to put pressure on your partner to give up their job and work as a stay-at-home parent because they think you should, because they think that's what your role should be in a family. I guess maybe the only thing I could say OP could be the jerk for is not making sure well in advance before ever getting married that this is what their husband actually wanted. I mean, I don't know, maybe they were aligned on that goal and something changed along the way, but I don't fault OP for liking their career and wanting to stay in a career. SpareShirt24 commented, "Not the jerk. Do not ever allow a partner to take away your ability to make money. Being able to make your own money gives you choice and freedom. I personally know women who had to stay in bad relationships longer than they wanted to because they'd been out of the workforce and didn't have their own money to immediately leave. Emotional, physical, even financial abuse is a thing. Don't you ever give up your autonomy." He believes women should not work at all and they belong at home. Jesus, why the freak did you marry him? Our next story is, am I the jerk for telling my brother he has to change his habits before college? I, 23-year-old male, graduated from college last year. I live at home right now with my dad and little brother, 19-year-old male. My brother's starting college after a 1.5 year gap from high school, where he worked and figured out what he wanted to major in. My brother and I grew up in the stereotypical all-male household. My dad was the one who raised us, as my mom left us pretty much the same day my brother was born. So sometimes our house kind of felt like a frat house, a lot of takeout. Bless my dad, he did his best, a living room filled with gym equipment, and for all three of us, pants and shirt optional household. Now, after going to college and living with roommates for 4 years, I realized pretty quickly that none of your friends need to see you in your underwear all the time, so I no longer do that. My dad does, it's his house, and so does my brother. The other day, when my brother didn't even bother to get dressed for his friends coming over, I gave him the heads up that he's going to have to get used to throwing on shorts and a tee when he's living in the dorms. He insists that he'll be living with all guys so he can do what he wants, but I told him that if he did that he would be the dorm weirdo. He didn't say anything, but now my dad is coming to me saying that I'm a jerk for stressing my brother out and instilling my weird, prudish values in him. I thought I was just looking out for him. OP is definitely not the jerk here. I don't think it's prudish to say you don't lounge around in your dorm room with no shirt on and you're just in your boxers. You know, maybe there's brief moments in and out of the shower or whatever, but am I wrong to say that it's not a normal thing and probably shouldn't be normalized that you just lounge around in your dorm room with other people around in just your underwear? Like at home, sure, I completely understand that. But not around strangers or near strangers, roommates or not. I mean, like at the very least, at least assess your roommate out and figure out if they're okay with that kind of thing. Flat Replacement 4828 commented, "Not the jerk. That is an unconventional environment to be raised in, and he's definitely going to make some new potential friends uncomfortable by being in his underwear all the time." Our next story is, am I the jerk for telling my mom she's also to blame for why my brother and I won't host our parents for the holidays? Last Christmas was my brother's first holiday not living at home with our parents. He wanted to host everyone in his new apartment. Also, around this time last year, my parents had mutually agreed not to get each other gifts as they were focusing on paying off some debt. Apparently, there was some miscommunication. My dad thought this meant no gifts at all. My mom thought this meant no gifts, but they would still exchange stockings. In our family, stockings are always small stuff. Body care, candy, you get the picture. I was living with my parents last year, and I had heard all the discussions. I honestly saw both sides when, on Christmas morning, we all woke up and Mom didn't have her stocking filled from Dad. She was very quiet but clearly hurt. He ran out to the pharmacy, quickly bought some things to fill her stocking, saying he was sorry. Now, should my dad have communicated better? Sure. Do I understand my mom's hurt by the situation? Also sure. But I thought they'd be able to swallow it all for lunch at my brother's. We go, and my dad is doing his best to make up for his blunder. My mom is in a terrible mood and keeps picking at him all day long. Towards the end of our time there, she ended up making a snarky remark about my dad not filling her stocking. My dad flipped his crap and started screaming that nothing he does is enough, and then stormed out. My brother was clearly upset by having Christmas ruined by their arguing. I convinced my mom we should leave not long after. My brother and I were upset with both of them. My dad shouldn't have flipped out and screamed. My mom also should have kept her comments to herself or spoken to my dad later. My brother was embarrassed as his roommate had come home, and while he was in his room, he overheard the arguing. My brother stopped having my parents over altogether after that, though he would still invite me. My brother would also visit us at my parents' place. Thanksgiving is fast approaching, and we were all trying to coordinate plans. I recently got my own place, but honestly don't want to host after last year. My brother said he's never hosting another holiday at his apartment again. My mom was hurt by this, but eventually we all just planned to have dinner at my parents' place. Later on, my mom was complaining to me that my brother won't have us over anymore, feeling pushed out. She said it was my dad's fault and she shouldn't be punished. I told her while my dad was wrong for screaming, she chose to be whiny all day long. I clarified that I understood her hurt, but she also partially ruined the day by not letting it go. My mom got mad at me and accused me of taking sides. I said I'm not. If Dad witched, I would tell him the same, but he seems to understand that he ruined it. I also pointed out that neither of them ever apologized to my brother, and I'm not confident they would never do it again. My mom says I'm in the wrong for how I spoke to her. Am I the butt here? Edit, because of course everyone's favorite game is let's play devil's advocate. This is not my parents' first time having an argument like this. In the past, it hasn't been about Christmas, but it's been about other stuff. They hate each other but stay married due to not being able to afford divorce and live separately. They hate each other. Their screaming matches are constant and they've ruined other family events. We've suggested therapy and they won't go. They want to stay trapped and miserable. Yet, when my brother and I bickered about stupid stuff as kids, they would scream at us for ruining their peace. We're at the point where they don't get to do this without consequences. This is the consequence. For those saying that I shouldn't blame my dad as much as I do in this post, the main reason I hold him at 50% is because he started screaming. If he had just remained quiet and spoke to my mom later, then he wouldn't be held to the same degree. Because he screamed and refused to take accountability for his tantrum, he goes up here too. But I agree. Without that, my mom is more at fault. Thank you to those who actually listened and paid attention. Even if I didn't agree with what you said, you didn't try to play stupid devil's advocate and make the story into something it wasn't. I mean, I think OP is an unbiased party here. I think there's clear, obvious frustrations for OP. And I'm gonna say OP's not the jerk for voicing their frustrations and feeling like the brother should be apologized to. I mean, from the sounds of it, both kids are exhausted here. I would be. I mean, I could imagine hearing a simple, "I'm sorry for messing up the mood and sticking with it, I should have been better." How impactful that would be to hear from them just because you've never heard it before. Ready Conflict 1887 commented, "You made the best point of all, neither apologized to your brother. You also mentioned you think this situation could happen again. It kind of says all we, as the internet, needs to know about your parents." Edit, apparently I forgot to write not the jerk, but obviously not the jerk. Our next story is, am I the jerk for ignoring my family after they excluded me from Christmas again? For context, I, 29-year-old female, have not been on great terms with my family for a long time. My mom has spent most of my life doing everything she can to tear me down, and as of now, I haven't spoken to her in almost 3 years. I have an okay relationship with my brother, 32-year-old male, and I love my dad even though he enables my mom and never stands up for me because he doesn't like to rock the boat. Until a few months ago, I lived pretty close to my parents, but I recently moved across the country, and I don't have any friends or family anywhere near my new home. I love holidays and celebrations, but no one else in my family does. When I was younger, they used to make fun of me or get frustrated when I would try to be festive around Christmas, and eventually, I stopped trying. For the past decade, my family hasn't done anything for any holiday, and I've become okay with that. However, my brother, who lives in a different state, got divorced a couple of years ago and his ex took their house, so my parents bought a huge duplex in his town so that he could still live on one side with my 4-year-old niece and they could live part-time on the other. They still have their house in my hometown that they live in most of the year, but the last 2 years, my parents have gone up to stay in their side of the duplex for the whole month of December, and they've celebrated Christmas with my brother and niece. Last year, they didn't even tell me that they were going. I found out from my dad's Facebook. It hurt that they decided to celebrate Christmas all together and didn't even tell me, but I shook it off. This year, though, they did it again. My dad called me on Christmas Eve and told me how much fun they were having as a family, and then asked me what I was doing for Christmas. I told him I was doing nothing. I don't know anyone in my new city, and my family's all celebrating Christmas without me. He paused like he didn't consider that, and then quickly got off the phone. He later sent me a selfie of them all together saying, "Merry Christmas from Brothers State." I didn't answer. Actually, I stopped answering at all. My dad and I usually talk 2 to 3 times a week to check in, but he's called me once and texted me twice, and I haven't answered since Christmas Eve, 7 days ago. I've also not been posting on my socials, and given that I'm not answering him or posting and I'm all alone in a city far away, he doesn't really know if I'm alive or dead. He texted me yesterday saying, "Please tell me if you're okay," and I haven't responded. I know it's petty, but I'm really hurt that I wasn't even thought of for the family holiday. Even if I was invited, I probably wouldn't have gone just because I don't want to be around my mom. But being left out entirely really hurts, and having them rub my face in it with their selfie is even worse. I've been ignored by my family for my whole life, and I'm tired of trying. I don't know how to say this to my dad, and I don't want to talk to him until I know what to say. Am I the jerk by maintaining my silence? So first off, I just want to clarify that this post is 10 months old, but only because there's a new update that's coming up next. That said, I can't fault OP for feeling left out. How blind of a response is that OP explained to their dad that they feel left out, the dad hangs up and then turns around and sends a selfie of the family saying, "Merry Christmas." It's like doubling down and rubbing their face in while doing the Fortnite Take the L dance or something. Social Justice 33 commented, "I think we may have the same family. I'm the black sheep and it saddened me for years. I try to be a part of the family, calling, sending presents and postcards, to no avail. I just wanted to be loved and accepted. When one of my brothers passed away, my dad called a week after his funeral and said, 'I thought you might want to know.' This is when I knew I would never be a part of this family. I decided to move on without them and live my life to the fullest. If they called, great, and if not, great." It was like a huge burden was lifted off my shoulders. The black cloud that followed me disappeared. They are toxic and dysfunctional. Mom has a mean streak and dad is spineless, allowing her cruelty. There are some moms, such as mine, that only honor boys and neglect the girls in the family. You don't need this crap. Move on without them. Let the pain go. It may take some therapy to heal. You've been traumatized your whole life. Focus on healing you. Focus on the life you envision for yourself. Love and celebrate you. You are special. You are strong to have endured such crap. I know the road you're on, the road less traveled, and it's a road full of adventure, twists and turns, personal growth, and self-love. Celebrate Christmas. Put up a tree, decorate, put on some music, invite people over, or just relax and enjoy the atmosphere you created. So, almost a year later, OP posted an update. Am I the jerk for ignoring my family after they excluded me from Christmas again? I didn't think my post from last year was that interesting, but a surprising number of people have asked me for an update, so here it is. After a couple of weeks of radio silence, I followed some good advice from my original post and texted my dad to tell him it hurt my feelings that they left me out. He half apologized and life went on. A lot of people pointed out that while my family was toxic, me ignoring my dad was also pretty toxic, and they were right. My family is super passive-aggressive, and that's the only way I'd ever learned how to handle conflict. And to answer some more comments, I've been in therapy for about 6 years, and after last Christmas, I started working with my therapist on how to do healthier confrontation. It's still not something I'm super comfy with, but I'm getting better. I've also made a number of good friends in my new city, and I'm doing pretty well all things considered. With my family, at the end of the day, nothing has changed. They didn't really acknowledge my 30th birthday in spring, and most recently when I invited my dad to my grad school graduation next year, he told me that he couldn't commit to it right now because he's waiting to see if something that he'd rather do comes up. My brother said that he would come, but he's already gone from a yes to a maybe, so I don't have high hopes. The good news is that it finally hurts less because I've more or less given up on having a real relationship with them. I'm never going to be loved or cared about by them the way I want to be, and I've come to accept that. As of now, I have no plans for Christmas this year, but it's okay. My family sucks, but I'm really lucky in my friends, and I'm grateful for that. So, unfortunately, I don't think it's a great surprise what happened here. You know, as much as I would love to have seen a hallmark moment where the family comes back together and says, you know, we really should have done this from the start. I love you, son. It in reality kind of just went along with the very clear forecasted expectation. At least OP's moving past it. Horror Commission 656 commented, I'm sorry that things haven't really changed for you with the family. I'm a big believer in chosen family, especially when the bio family is toxic and inconsiderate. Stick to your friends. They'll help you move on completely. I think that now that you've let go of the idea that your family is anything other than a bunch of self-centered jerks, it's gotta be super freeing for you. Life is what you make of it, so make it awesome. P.S. Congrats on the upcoming graduation. Our next story is, am I the jerk for speaking Polish with my friend even though my wife doesn't understand it? Hi, I'm 26-year-old male from Poland. My wife is British, 26-year-old female. We first met in college and got married in February 2025. Soon, we moved to a new apartment in London. Honestly, it feels lonely and a little stressing when you don't have any person with whom you can talk in your native language, IRL. Recently, a Polish guy shifted to our floor. I'm extremely happy as he's an awesome guy with whom I can speak Polish with face to face. It feels like a part of my homeland has come. Naturally, we've become good friends and spend some time together, almost daily. It's not like I'm spending less time with my wife now. I've cut down on my screen time. My wife loves socializing too, but since we're kind of new to this place, she doesn't have that much people to talk to. Just 2 to 3 friends she meets sometimes on the weekends. So whenever me and him are together, she often joins us in the room. She recently told me that she feels left out when we talk in Polish and wants me to use English too while speaking to him. The problem is, it's honestly hard and awkward for both of us. I tried, but I always ended up slipping back into full Polish mode. In the whole city, this guy is the only person I can talk to in my own language. It's such a big comfort. It isn't only about convenience, it's kind of an emotional grounding. It helps feeling connected to home and reduces the loneliness that comes from always operating in a second language. The place where I can fully express humor, feelings without translation fatigue. But she's unhappy about it as she knows that I'm not honestly trying to shift to English with him as well. I even told her that it's hard to happen. Am I the jerk? Edit, just to make things clear, it's usually a guy's hangout, but she just joins in. He and she aren't proper friends. Edit 2, I don't know why Reddit suspended my account, but I'm actively reading all of your comments here. Thanks for your time. You know, I can't say that I'm all too knowledgeable on this one. I'm just a lonely solo English speaker. Though I could imagine OP mentioned translation fatigue. If it's a little bit of an effort to talk in English because it's a second language and you kind of have to figure out that mapping into English from your native language, yeah, I could understand how it would be exhausting, especially when you're presented with the opportunity with your friend there of only speaking your native language. Or especially if OP has to do part-time duty being the translator for their partner. I mean, I can't imagine there's much more fun than sitting there and being like, yeah, my friend said he likes peanut butter too, just to be clear, every time a sentence in Polish is said. Pensive Moon commented, not the jerk, and think most of the people commenting otherwise have probably never experienced having to fully operate in their second language on a daily basis. Translation fatigue is spot on. It sounds like you two are hanging out and she's dropping in and not like an organized 3-person hangout. I agree that you could be more careful to try and include her once she joins, but for her to insist that you switch to English for the whole duration of the hang is a bit selfish in my opinion. Our next story is, am I the jerk for not wanting to pay my friend $2,000 for watching my cat? Hi, I, 26-year-old female, was deployed for 6 months. My male coworker, who I thought I was friends with, agreed to take care of my cat while I was gone. No money was agreed or promised before I left. During the time, I paid for her expenses as he told me them. And when I got back, I picked her up and I gave $300 because I considered this a favor from a friend. They didn't like the amount given and wanted $2,000. In their words, the pet care center, nearest border, costs $20 a day or $100 a week, so they should get $10 a day because of the effort involved in taking care of my cat. She stayed at their house with their other pet during the time, so they didn't have to travel to take care of her. So, am I the jerk for not wanting to pay $2,000? I obviously realize now that this person is not a friend, and I will no longer consider them as such and treat them only as a coworker. So I would say the only thing is OP absolutely should have clarified the expectations well beforehand before you ever handed your cat off to somebody else. But I don't blame OP for not wanting to pay this person $2,000. It obviously varies depending on the cat, but most cats I've been around, really taking care of them is kind of like one step above taking care of a potted plant. You fill the food and water bowls, and you scoop the litter box, and you're attentive when they want to give you attention or they need something. Josh Jenny commented, "Everybody sucks here. For 6 months, I would have compensated my friend for their time and effort. $300 was a nice gesture, but I probably would have paid $500 minimum. I would just never expect a friend to watch my cat for free for 6 months. While cats are generally low maintenance, daily care is still involved. Your friend sucks, as throwing a $2,000 invoice at someone out of the blue is not it. But any costs should have been discussed up front." But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. Now, if you want to hear another absolutely crazy Am I the Jerk Here story, check out that video on the left. Or if you missed my latest video, check out that video on the right. That said, I'll see you all next time with some more stories.